And they really don't do anything in production. He's like a staple in Turner County. But he always has interesting things to talk about. And I'm happy to call him my friend. And
Yes, thank you, Mike. Mike's daughter is referred to me as one of the Turner County characters. I wish Susan could be here today, but she is taking her mother to Emory for a 6-month kidney checkup. And if you've never had somebody who's done an organ transplant come and speak to you, you should get Sherry to come speak to you. Everything that she has gone through, it will blow your mind. It is just amazing. And the reason I bring that up is because the Wall Street Journal just recently did a series on organ transplants. And the National Transplant Association is having 700 people a week remove themselves from the transplant list because of those stories. The Transplant Association, several others, doctors, and everybody like that said the Wall Street Journal, no, it was New York Times, excuse me, the New York Times absolutely screwed the stories up. They made it out to be something it is not, and it is terrifying. So,
well, it helped the rest of the people on the list, I guess.
it's not going to help anybody on the
Yes,
list.
if people were jumping off it.
Yeah, there's fewer donors.
So, I guess.
Yeah, Sherry was on the list for 2 years to get kidney. And they called her once and took her to Emory, and she got up there and they ran tests and it was not compatible, so she came back. A month later they called her again and they took her and they did it, and she was there for 3 or 4 days. Used to be you'd be there for a month. Anyway, I came to talk to you about what Susan and I did. I wish Susan could be here, because if you're a parent, you understand how just absolutely delighted I am that my daughter came in 2nd place as Rookie of the Year and 4th place overall women's shooters this year at the 50 caliber World Championships, which is what this shirt is for 2024. In 2024, I won Rookie of the Year, and it's nothing compared to seeing my daughter take 2nd place.
No.
Yes. So what did she do? Well, she shot one of these boogers right here. This is the bullet that she used somewhere. This is not the one, of course, she shot them. And she was shooting at 1,000 yards with this rifle bullet. Now, when I got this one 20-something years ago, I was used to shooting this, which is basically a 30-06. This is the military version. And I took this thing to the range and I was shooting it, and I got home because it was close to deer season. I pulled my rifle out and said, I'm supposed to shoot a deer with this? Why? Because if you look at the difference, it's just mind-blowing. So what did she do? She came in 2nd place, and she had one bullet this much closer to her group, which is I'll show you what I mean by group. If she had one bullet this much closer to her group, she got Rookie of the Year. And she told me after she was done shooting, she said, Daddy, I pulled it. Mike knows what that means. It means when she shot the gun, Christy knows, she pulled the gun so that the bullet went wide.
And if she only was an inch or 2 off of 1,000 yards,
That's
she
still
didn't pull it
incredible.
much.
Right.
She did not
She
pull it
knew.
much. So her best group was 8 3/4 inches at 1,000 yards. What does that mean? An MOA is 1 inch, call this just a hair more than an inch at 100 yards. So what I want you to imagine, this is bigger than an MOA. This is a plastic bottle cap. The inside ring is 1 MOA. What I'm telling you is, at 100 yards, she put 5 of these bullets into a space smaller than the inside of this ring.
Which at 1,000 is 10.4 inches of rough.
10.4. And her best group was 8 3/4.
That's ridiculous.
That's incredible.
It is really ridiculous.
People pay for just regular rifles that shoot under 1 MOA, $3,000 or $4,000.
Well, the rifle she shot was around 15,000. So, what is the world record? You see how this fits exactly into that ring right there? You can see it more or less. Y'all can pass this around now. The world record is 2 1/4 inches at 1,000 yards. He put everything into a shot at 100 yards smaller than what you see here. Put this into another perspective. Everything she shot, her worst group was 16 inches. Everything she shot would hit a mountain-sized target every time at 1,000 This is 10 football fields. It is amazing. And these guns, they take them before the World Championship for the 50 cal shooters. They shoot 1 mile, 2 mile, and 3 mile targets with it. So you just imagine that.
How do you see that far?
It's really, really, really hard. And they got really, really big scopes, and they got really high magnification on them.
So it's $5,000 and up for the optic that he's talking about.
Yeah,
Just for the scope.
just for the scope, you're looking at about $5,000. 15 for the rifle. Most of these guys that will buy a rifle will buy one. This is the bolt that holds it. I took it apart so it can't go off. And you have to take the bolt out every time you load mine. You manually put it in like that, and then you load it up and shoot it. And Mike and Christy know about springs. This is the firing pin spring in mine.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's like damn near a coil spring out of a car. And I need to replace it now.
What is the power on that spring, do you know? I mean, it's,
More than I do.
good Lord.
I mean, it's tough, and I need to replace it now. I mean, it's mechanical. Things wear out. It's gonna happen. But anyway, she shot that at 1,000 yards. She had her coach, Ed George, who's one of the most wonderful guys you could ever hope to meet. And after the first day of shooting, he came up to me and said, "I want to marry your daughter." Second day of shooting, he said, "I can't marry her, but I can adopt her." And literally, everybody at the shoot that met Susan, they just came up to me later and said, "Your daughter is just so wonderful." And of course, by this time, my head had already started swelling, so we had to call a construction crew to come modify our hotel door so I could get my head in and out of it. Because if you're a parent, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I was so happy. This year, in 2024, I got Rookie of the Year. And it's nothing compared to my daughter getting second place. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm just so excited for her. She is headed to Shreveport, Louisiana in October to shoot in the regional matches. And when she gets done there, she's going to go meet some of her friends that she met at the 50 cal in New Mexico and possibly buy a gun out there. A guy has a used one for sale, with the scope and all the setup you need for $7,000. That's less than half price on it. I'm encouraging her to buy it, and I'll help her buy it if she needs to, of course. So what is this one? This is a state arm shorty. What it means by shorty is this is the tapered short barrel. This is one of the shortest barrels I've ever seen on one of these rifles. The longest I ever saw was 48 inches. That was a booger. It was over at the place in Irwin County that used to deal Florida Shop and Gun Store. Wow. Talk about weird. But I run a newspaper, a bookstore, and a gun store. So whatever it takes to make it work. But this is capable of putting 5 shots into this bottle cap at 100 yards all day long with the right ammunition. Now, what do I mean by right ammunition? Well, the bullet I passed around, if you looked at it real close, you'll see some gouges in it on each side. This is a pull bullet. It was taken from military ammunition. They put it in a device, they pulled the bullet out and sold the bullet, it got reloaded. This might or might not shoot MOA, but at 100 yards with this ammunition, this gun, you're going to keep them in a group this big for sure. And when we're in South Georgia, when we talk about shooting accurately, we talk minute of deer. If you put all your shots in a group this big, that's a dead deer. That's all we care about. But these guys, at 100 yards, they want to put them in your thumbnail. Yeah. They want to put all 5 shots into the size of your thumb at 100 yards. It's just mind-boggling. So the ammunition she shot was loaded by Ed. It was $3 a shot. Ed just charged us exactly what it cost him for the components. You can buy ammunition like this for about $1.75 for these, and it goes up to, yeah. It's not going to be really good ammo. And up to $15 per. And if you're going to shoot in championship matches like this, you're not going to shoot this. You're going to hand load your ammo, you're going to weigh the primer, you're going to weigh the brass, and you're going to weigh the bullet, and you're going to weigh the powder charge. And if your bullet, this is a 650 grain, which is what they're supposed to weigh, but they never do. Somewhere between 645 and 655. But if you're loading for tournament, and you're loading the 650 grains. If this weighs 645, you're not gonna load it. You gotta get within 1 or 2 grains of what you're after. This is the firing pin. Some of y'all know about firing pins. This is freaking massive. It is just entirely huge. This is the cap on the end of it. This is the muzzle brake. I don't mind passing it around if you want to, but I'm warning you, it's heavy. Let me put it to you this way. I will not shoot this gun without that thing on it.
No doubt.
No, yeah.
That tames the recoil. In other words, when you shoot a gun, all the muzzle and everything goes up this way. This one takes the muzzle blast and pushes it back this way, which reduces the recoil. These things without a muzzle brake have close to 200 foot-pounds of energy. In other words, that's somebody hitting your shoulder with a force of 200 pounds. With that one on it, the foot-pounds go to about 35 or 40.
I'm dropping my toe.
If y'all know anything about guns, shooting my gun with this ammunition is about like shooting a 20 gauge. You can do it all day long. I've had kids that shoot my gun and look at me and say, Mr. Baker, can I do it again? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. The first time my brother shot this, he took him to the range, and he sat up, he shot, and he just stood there after he shot. He just sat there behind the gun. I said, all right, what's wrong? And finally he looks over at me and says, I want to go home and have sex with my wife now. There was a gentleman, we call him Gunny. He's one of the law enforcement firearms instructors. Well, among other things, I actually get to take these guns from manufacturers and shoot them till I'm tired and send them back, and I write reviews on them for magazines. Well, it so happened, the Ashburn Police Department was having training one day, and I had one, and I needed to shoot it. So I took it out there. I pulled it out of the box, and all the officers went. And Gunny looks at him and says, when he got time to shoot, he says, all right, y'all listen to this guy who knows what he's talking about. So I explained to him how to shoot this. I explained to him all the stuff about it. And he was the last one to shoot. Well, he got on the ground, and he laid down on the ground behind it, and he shot. And he did like my brother. He just laid there for a minute. And I think, okay, I know what's fixing to happen. He rolls over on his back, throws his arms out, and says, I need a cigarette. So this is one of my hobbies, is shooting. This is my biggest gun. This is my most, for lack of a better word, financially valuable gun. It's about $3,500. It is in no way my most valuable gun to me. I have 3 guns that I will never sell. I have the 12 double barrel 16 gauge my daddy left me when he died. Y'all can understand that. I have the 38 revolver my mama bought me when I was 16, and she's gone now. And I have a 270 rifle that Cubby Goff, some of y'all know him. He left it to me in his will. I'll be homeless before I sell those guns. Anything, you want to buy this one? Write me a check, $3,500, it's yours. I'm good, I'll go get another one. In fact, I have another one sitting in my office now that I got to go test drive that I also bought because it's got a 36-inch barrel. What is this capable of? The bullet will actually travel if you hold the gun in an atmosphere at an angle of 50 degrees. You'd think 45, but no, you have to go 50 degrees. It will travel over 6 miles. Now, by the time it gets to that 6 miles, the bullet, which leaves the barrel out of this at about 2,500 feet per second, is probably moving at 300 or 400 feet per second. Enough to hurt you, but it's also flipping, it's rolling, it's tumbling at that point. It probably wouldn't kill you unless it hits you in the eye. If you were wearing a thick jacket, hit you in the chest, it'd bruise you really bad, and that's it. What can you hunt with these? I tell people this is my squirrel rifle. And they laugh like Lloyd just did. I said, I don't shoot the squirrel, I mean, it'll mess him up. I shoot the tree out from under the squirrel. And you can get all kinds of ammunition. This is what's called a military ball. It's lead encapsulated in a copper sheet. You can get full copper bullets, which is what people shot at Raton, 803 grain, made by Cutting Edge. The guy who won this year put all of his show, well, I don't know why that. The guy who won the world championship this year, his best green at 1,000 yards was this big. I mean, if you know anything about guns, that's just mind-boggling.
How many shots?
They get 5, and they have to shoot that 4 times. They get 2 5-rounds in the morning or in the afternoon, and then on Sunday they flip it. If they shot in the morning, they shoot in the afternoon then. The reason they flip it like that is because out there in New Mexico where we shoot, in the morning there is no wind. And in the afternoon you got wind. And you have to figure the wind. Now, here's another one. When you're shooting at distances past a mile, you have to figure in the rotation of the earth.
Coriolis.
Coriolis, thank you, Mike. I cannot remember that word. Because if you're shooting at a target 2 miles away, and it's the size of a sheet of plywood, when your bullet leaves, if it was a laser traveling that way at the speed of the bullet, by the time the bullet reached the target had moved away because of the rotation of the earth. This just aggravates flat earthers to no end whatsoever. And you have to know, are you shooting north, you shooting south, you shooting east, you shooting west, or somewhere in between that, because that affects the rotation of the earth and where your bullet's gonna go.
Some circles talk about it, I don't know if those do, if it matters, or right hand or left hand twist, or guys funny about that.
We don't care about the twist. But when you're shooting, as Mike talked about, with Coriolis effect, the rifling in the bullet, which are the grooves that go in the bullet, some of them spin to the left, or left, that would be your left, and some of them go to the right. That makes a difference when you're shooting at 2 miles because of how the bullet spins. And that's what stabilizes the bullet in flight. We don't care. You just have to know your gun. And these guys who shoot professionally, this one here, you're welcome to come try and pick it up if you want to. Mike had to help me bring it in. I threw my back out loading it this morning. But this gun is what is called an unlimited gun, but it's on the lower end. We have hunter, light, heavy, and unlimited, those categories. The light guns weigh under 20 pounds. Now, years ago I was test driving one of these, and it weighed 18 pounds and had a short barrel. I shot it. I'm thinking, that wasn't right. I shot it again. I said, are my suspenders twisted? Nope, they were flat. I shot it again and said, I'm done. The checker marks on the butt plate were in my shoulder. I have never had a gun kick that hard before, and I shot 3.5-inch 12 gauge. No, this one, 3 shots, I was done. And then you go talking about unlimited. The heaviest rifle in this category I've ever seen, you're not going to believe me, but I'll show you pictures if you really want to see, it's 500 pounds. It is encased in a block of aluminum, the barrel, in a block of aluminum. It sits on an aluminum base about this big. He's got a trigger comes up the back like this. It has no stock, but it's got a button. The block is this big, and his scope is here on the side. He sits over there, the barrel's right here, he sits over here, he looks at the scope, and he pushes the button, and it shoots the gun. He makes people so mad when he shows up with that one.
Actually, one.
Yeah.
It's on a trailer, a little rolling trailer with hydraulics on it. So when he rolls it out of his trailer, his big trailer, he can roll it up to the shooting platform, pump it up or lower it down, and then 4 guys, one gets on each end, they pick it up and they move it over. Because here's the thing, we're competing at the World Championship and all these other things. So we're there to have a good time mostly. Susan said she couldn't believe how helpful everybody in the association was. She said, Daddy, it was just amazing. Everybody wanted to help me. Everybody wanted to tell me. Everybody. It is the 50 Caliber Shooters Association. And I am the editor of the magazine, Very High Power, which goes literally all over the globe. If you know very much about precision shooting, you may not, but there's a guy named Dave Walls. He is the owner of Accuracy International. We all remember when President Trump got shot. The Secret Service guys that took out the shooter used an Accuracy International rifle. If you want to protect heads of state, everybody on the planet buys an Accuracy International rifle. This guy founded the company, created it, still oversees production. Last year, I outshot him.
That is cool.
That is beyond cool. And he's a friend of mine now. I interviewed him. He wrote a book and he signed it and gave it to me, autographed it. I said, here's what Wayne Walls to me was one of my top 10 of all time interviews. And y'all, I've talked to presidential candidates. Harry Reid, former Nevada senator, was actually a friend of mine. I talked to him at length when I lived in Nevada, and I could still call him and talk to him if I needed to when he was alive. And I have interviewed Bill Cosby. But probably my coolest interview of all time, and some of you know who I'm talking about, I got to interview the Kingston Trio. This is what made it cool. I got there before the concert. They said, come on. And they took me into there where they were eating supper, and they offered to buy me supper. I said, no thank you, I've already had supper. Well, let me buy you a beer. They said, they bought me a beer. And we were talking, did an interview, and we were talking. And I talked about their music because I love the Kingston Trio. I said, my favorite song y'all do is the Space Age Minuet. Don't know if you've ever heard that one, but it's high satire and high sarcasm. It talks about a nuclear war. And I said, that's my favorite song you ever did. And they sang it for me in the concert. How cool is that?
All right, what was that song?
Space Age Minuet. The Space Age Minuet by the Kingston Trio. One of the lines in it is, someday someone will set the spark off and we will all be blown away. It's really high satire. But this gun, I bought it 20 years ago for $2,200. The stock, Christy commented on it, this is a custom made stock. I actually had to measure my hand, measure my wrist, measure my forearm, and then all the way. And he manufactured this stock to fit my exact grip. Now if you look at it, this is what we call the grip back here. It appears to be too big for my hand. Well, here's the thing. When you're shooting this at 1,000 yards, you don't grip the gun. You put your gun alongside, your hand alongside the gun, and you put your finger over the trigger. You don't squeeze your trigger. When you shoot the gun, you pull your whole arm gently back. Because when you squeeze the trigger, you're putting torque on the gun, you're putting twist on it. But when you pull it this way, there's no torque. It's only pulling straight back. And it makes a difference. If you look at this scope, you can see a target at 1,000 yards. The targets are 6 feet tall. And go back to my shirt here. This is what we call the X ring, is that middle ring. There's a 10, 9, and 8, so forth. At 1,000 yards, the X ring is about this big. The first inside ring. The 10 ring comes out to about here. Okay? We have guys that will put every shot in that X ring, like I told you about. They group them like this. But at 1,000 yards, you can clearly see that target with this scope. And you can also see your bullet holes because this scope magnification is simply that high. And you can put the gun up there and you can put your hand alongside of it like this, and you can watch it. And if you put your hand through it and you grip it, you can see the scope hairs move on the target. And yes, to answer your question, I love shooting my gun.
You got one.
Sir.
Ben was talking about 200 foot-pounds of energy going into your shoulder. Just for frame of reference, the 30-06 bullet he held up, when it leaves the muzzle, it's got about 2,800 foot-pounds of energy. When the 50 cal leaves the muzzle, it's got almost 14,000 foot-pounds of energy.
Almost. This is not the biggest shoulder-fired gun that you can buy today. There's something called a 20 millimeter. This is a 12 point something millimeter, I can't remember what it is. But the biggest one you can buy today that's shoulder-fired is called the JDJ 950. That is a 0.95 inch diameter bullet coming out of this thing. Yeah.
Now you have to get special clearance from the government to build anything over a 50.
They did, and they got a special clearance to make this a sporting rifle. The bullet, I told you this one weighs 650 grains, that bullet weighs 3,000 grains. You're not talking about firing a deer bullet, you're talking about firing a literal cannonball downrange.
Yeah.
And even with a giant muzzle brake like this one, the recoil is amazing. And let me blow your mind on something else. When you're shooting these big guns like this, small, thin people handle the recoil better than us big guys. Why? Because if you're small and you're lightweight and you shoot it, you're going to roll with all the energy. If you're a big guy, it's got to overcome the inertia that I am. It's going to kick me harder, in other words. Hard to believe, I know, but it's the absolute truth. Oops, I left a piece off, didn't I? I'm putting it back together so I can assemble it when I get ready to depart. You have any questions? You got to have something, I'm sure. I didn't do that good a job talking
How
about
many
it.
people in the state of Georgia in that association?
I think there's maybe a dozen of us, Lloyd. There's not many, but there's a lot of people who have these guns that shoot. They're just not members because they don't shoot them enough. I have to say the majority of people that buy this kind of gun and buy this size gun, they buy it and they stick it in the gun safe and they may shoot it 5 times and that's it. The guys I shoot with, they're replacing the barrel every 2 or 3 years. We had a twice world record shooter, Craig Martin, lives in Baymonette? No. He lives somewhere in South Mississippi, close to the Gulf. He won the world championship twice in a row, and this year he started shooting his groups for about like this. He couldn't figure out why. He said, I've only got 1,800 rounds. That means he shot 1,800 bullets through it. I was hoping to get 2,200. He's got to replace his barrels. They will shoot out. Why? Because back here, where the bullet chambers, when it goes off, it's like taking a blowtorch to that area of the gun right there. Some guys will go out and buy 36-inch barrels. And when it comes time to replace it, they send it to a gunsmith, and he cuts this much, about this much off the end of the barrel down here, and their accuracy is restored. Is it cheaper to do that or buy a new barrel? Flip a coin. It's the same difference.
Where do you shoot 1,000 yards around here?
Don't. There is a range over in Blakely along the Alabama border. Shreveport is supposed to close this year on December 31st, and we're going to move the regionals to Blakely. So we shoot there. Over at over on the Georgia coast, there's another range that has a 600 yard that you can shoot. But we really like to shoot them at 1,000 yards because when you're shooting at 1,000 yards, you go to 600, you're saying, oh, come on, give me something, challenge. Because you may think 400 yards doesn't matter, but when you get behind one of these things, it matters a lot. And the World Championships is held at Raton at the Whittington Center, which is owned by the NRA out in the northern part of New Mexico. If you've never been there, New Mexico is a lot like Georgia. It depends on where you are as to what it looks like. I've been all over that state now, and my favorite part is absolutely the northern part because you're up there in the mountains, you're up there in that region on the remains of an ancient extinct volcano. On the east side of the state, as you come out, if you're driving, you see these giant black rocks everywhere. That's volcanic debris from when the volcano exploded. The Native Americans think they're sacred and they call them the bones of the earth. Raton itself is extremely cool. It's the only city of any consequence for probably an hour to 2 hours in any direction or more. If you were to drive it straight, if you could, from Denver, Colorado to Raton would take you 2 hours, but you can't drive it straight. It took them more than 100 years to find what is now the Raton Pass through the Rocky Mountains to get from Denver to Colorado as directly as they can, and it takes 4 hours because you're driving through the mountains. But it's beautiful. Raton has a mountain, we call it a mountain, they call it a hill. It's called Goat Hill. And it has a giant Hollywood type sign on it that says Raton. Well, the cool thing is you can drive up to the top, and when you get there, you can see the entire city of Raton as it curves around the mountain right there. All of it. You can see absolutely the whole city. And then when you come off of it, this boggled my mind the first time I saw it. You have to be careful driving at night because there's deer everywhere in downtown Raton. Why? It's the only place they got shelter. It's the only place they got regular food in the sky.
Good job.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for being here. Now I really am done.
Any of associations come from being snipers?
There are lots of snipers in there, yes, sir. And I'll put it this way, if they were not a military sniper, the military would look at them and say, we ain't even gonna send you to training, come on, here's your gun.
Your time is what, 2 hours from Albuquerque?
2 hours. And that's a pretty straight shot despite what the interstate shows you, because the interstate does like this to go into Raton. It's a pretty straight shot.
More color for you. The JDJ 950 has 38,000 foot-pounds of energy.
38,000. That's like getting hit by a car.
A car, yeah, it's 60.
That, ooh. I've talked to some professional African guys, I thought I was done talking. And they told me if I can get this over to Africa, they'll get somebody to carry it for me so I can shoot a Cape Buffalo with it if I want to.
Heck yeah.
Shoot a what?
Cape Buffalo. It's called Black Death and it's considered one of the most dangerous animals on the planet. In fact, a Texas billionaire, was killed last week by Cape Buffalo. It's one of
They
two.
don't go down on one shot if you missed. Their muscle is so dense that whatever country you're hunting in, they have minimum requirements for the arms you use. And
Gotta have
the
5,000
minimum
pounds.
will not penetrate on the Cape Buffalo. It's good stuff. So it takes more than one shot ordinarily to get a brain shot.
To answer Lloyd's question, the guy didn't even shoot. It was a charge
Yeah.
for no reason they can tell. But here's the thing about Cape Buffalo. They are one of two animals on the planet that they will guarantee they will charge you when they're wounded. The other is a leopard. And they will kill you.
Not the way y'all wanna go.
Me either. I wanna go hunt one.
We're gonna stay on Monroe Avenue.
I love
Ben, with that brake on there, you wear plugs and muffs? Because that's
Yes.
got to be a Hummer.
Yes, yes. Armalite Industries makes these, and I reviewed them, and it is so cool. You open the case, it comes in a big, nice case, a custom fit case. There's a set of earplugs in there, and there's one of those 2-pill pack of Advil in there. Because I'm telling you, the safest place if somebody shoot one of these is either 30 feet to either side or 20 feet behind them. Because if I'm shooting one, sitting down, and you're standing right behind me looking over my shoulder, it will feel literally like you've been punched in the chest, and it will make you flinch like this.
The whole body punch.
Yeah. But I love it. I love it. If you like shooting guns, it's telling you. Yes.
You got a 22?
We appreciate
Yes, sir, I've got one.
Very interesting.
Thank you, Mike, for inviting me.
Thanks for
Sounds
being
good,
here.
Ben.
And again, if you want somebody to come and talk, Sherry is glad to come and talk to you. What she went through was amazing. Yes, ma'am.
Would you say I have it week after next?
He's got it next week, you got the following.
Week after next.
Oh, when I'm done recording, I'll give you her number. Thank you for inviting me. I enjoyed the fellowship. Food was good too. I always enjoy speaking to you, and thank you, Mike, for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
And thank you for always putting our picture, our Rotary guests.
Oh, that's right. You want to do one today?
Oh, we'll get a picture. So you'll get your own picture in your own newspaper.
Yeah, I'll talk to the editor. He may put that one on the front.
We give an idea of your picture, come on.
Okay, let me stop my recording.
You want the blaster in the picture?
I don't need to be in there.
We'll take it out.
Oh, my.